The United States, a nation deeply divided, holds its breath. Tonight, America decides. The 2024 presidential election pits incumbent Vice President Kamala Harris against former President Donald Trump. This election is more than just a contest between two candidates. It's a referendum on the direction of the country. Months of campaigning, debates, and political maneuvering culminate in this pivotal moment. The stakes could not be higher. The outcome will shape domestic and foreign policy for years to come. It will determine the future of healthcare, climate change policy, and America's standing on the world stage. From coast to coast, Americans gather. They watch, they wait, they hope. The tension is palpable. In homes, bars, and community centers, eyes are glued to television screens as the first results trickle in. Tonight, the voice of the people will be heard. As polls close across the eastern seaboard, the first results begin to paint a picture of a nation on the brink. Early returns show a tight race, with both candidates claiming victories in expected strongholds. Vice President Harris takes an early lead in the Northeast, securing victories in states like New York, Massachusetts, and her home state of California. These wins, while significant, were largely anticipated. The path to 270 electoral votes runs through a handful of battleground states. President Trump finds early success in the South, winning states like Texas, Alabama, and Mississippi. His support in these regions remains strong, setting the stage for a long and contentious night. The early results offer a glimpse into the electoral landscape, but they provide little clarity. The true battlegrounds, states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Florida, remain too close to call. These regions hold the key to the White House. Florida, the perennial swing state, once again lives up to its reputation as a nail-biter. Early returns show a razor-thin margin separating Vice President Harris and President Trump. Both campaigns have poured resources into the Sunshine State, recognizing its outsized importance in the Electoral College. Harris is banking on strong turnout in urban areas like Miami and Orlando. Trump is counting on his support among older white voters in the state's more rural regions. The race in Florida is too close to call, with both candidates neck and neck. As the night wears on, the nation watches, waiting for Florida to tip its hand. The outcome in Florida could have a ripple effect on the rest of the country. The Rust Belt, once a Democratic stronghold, emerges as a pivotal battleground in the 2024 election. This region, known for its industrial past and hardworking communities, has seen significant political shifts over the years. States like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, which narrowly went for Trump in 2016, are once again up for grabs. These states, with their diverse populations and economic challenges, hold the key to the White House. Vice President Harris is looking to reclaim these states, appealing to working-class voters hit hard by economic changes. Her campaign focuses on job creation, healthcare, and education, aiming to address the core concerns of these communities. Her message of economic revitalization and support for unions resonates with many in the region. Harris emphasizes the importance of rebuilding infrastructure and investing in local businesses to create sustainable growth. President Trump hopes to repeat his 2016 success in the Rust Belt. His rallies draw large crowds, showcasing his continued popularity among certain voter groups. He is banking on his appeal to white working-class voters who feel left behind by the political establishment. Trump's promises to bring back manufacturing jobs and renegotiate trade deals are central to his campaign. His message of economic nationalism and protectionist trade policies continues to resonate with this demographic. Trump argues that his policies will protect American jobs and industries from foreign competition. Early returns from the Rust Belt paint a mixed picture. Both campaigns are closely monitoring the results, knowing that every vote counts in this tight race. Pennsylvania remains too close to call, with both candidates vying for every vote. The state's diverse electorate makes it a microcosm of the national political landscape. Michigan and Wisconsin show slight leads for Harris, but the margins are slim. These states could swing either way, making them critical battlegrounds. The outcome in the Rust Belt could very well determine the election. As the night progresses, all eyes will be on this region to see which way it leans. Section 5. The Harris Campaign, mobilizing the base. The Harris Campaign, headquartered in Washington, D.C., exudes an air of cautious optimism. While early returns show a tight race, the campaign remains confident in their ground game and their ability to turn out key constituencies. Vice President Harris has spent the closing weeks of the campaign crisscrossing the country, holding rallies, and meeting with voters in key battleground states. Her message of unity, hope, and progress has resonated with many, particularly young voters and voters of color. The campaign has focused heavily on mobilizing its base, particularly African American voters, Hispanic voters, and young people. Harris's focus on issues like healthcare, education, and gun control has appealed to many suburban women. Section 6. The Trump Campaign, Rallying the Faithful. At Trump Tower in New York City, the mood within the Trump campaign is a mix of defiance and anticipation. Despite trailing in some national polls, the campaign remains confident in President Trump's ability to pull off another upset victory. President Trump has maintained a relentless campaign schedule in the final weeks leading up to Election Day. His rallies continue to draw large crowds of enthusiastic supporters. The Trump campaign has focused its efforts on rallying the president's base of support, particularly white working-class voters, evangelical Christians, and rural voters. Trump has continued to cast doubt on the integrity of the election, making unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud. Section 7. Expert Analysis, Dissecting the Vote. As the night unfolds and results continue to pour in, political analysts and commentators work tirelessly to make sense of the electoral landscape. They scrutinize every piece of data, every vote count, and every swing in the numbers to provide the public with the most accurate and up-to-date information. On television, online, and on social media, experts dissect the vote, looking for trends, patterns, and clues about what the results might mean for the future of the country. They analyze voter behavior, regional differences, and historical voting patterns to predict potential outcomes. Some analysts point to the high turnout among young voters and voters of color as a positive sign for Vice President Harris. They highlight the enthusiasm and engagement of these groups, which could be pivotal in shaping the final results. They argue that these demographics, energized by the prospect of a more inclusive and progressive future, could prove decisive in key battleground states. The focus on battleground states is crucial, as these areas often determine the overall outcome of the election. Other commentators caution that it is still too early to draw any firm conclusions. They emphasize the importance of waiting for all votes to be counted, and for official results to be confirmed before making any definitive statements. They note that President Trump's base of support remains strong and that he has repeatedly defied expectations in the past. His ability to mobilize his supporters and secure key victories cannot be underestimated. The experts agree on one thing: this election is unlike any other in recent memory. The unprecedented circumstances, the high stakes, and the intense public interest make this a truly historic event. Section 8. Legal challenges loom. As the night wears on and the margin of victory in several key states remains razor-thin, both the Harris and Trump campaigns are bracing for the possibility of legal challenges and recounts. The specter of a protracted legal battle, reminiscent of the 2000 election, hangs heavy over the proceedings. The Trump campaign has signaled its willingness to contest the results in court, alleging without evidence that widespread voter fraud is taking place. The campaign has already filed lawsuits in several states, challenging voting procedures and seeking to limit access to mail-in ballots. The Harris campaign has assembled a team of lawyers and volunteers to monitor the vote count and prepare for any legal challenges. The possibility of a drawn-out legal battle raises serious concerns about the stability and legitimacy of American democracy. Section 9. The long night ahead. As midnight approaches, it is clear that this election is far from over. Millions of votes remain uncounted, and the outcome in several key battleground states hangs in the balance. Americans, exhausted but transfixed, settle in for a long night of waiting and watching. In homes, bars, and community centers across the country, the tension is palpable. Friends and family members, huddled around television screens or refreshing their phones for the latest updates, engage in hushed conversations. The cable news networks provide wall-to-wall coverage of the election. The internet, abuzz with speculation, analysis, and rumor, becomes a virtual echo chamber, amplifying both the hopes and fears of a nation on edge. Section 10. A nation awaits. As dawn approaches, the nation, weary from a night of anticipation and anxiety, awaits a resolution. The outcome of the election, still uncertain, hangs like a heavy fog over the country. The tension, building for months, threatens to boil over. In Washington, D.C., the streets around the White House and the Capitol building are eerily quiet. Security is tight as law enforcement officials brace for the possibility of protests, regardless of the outcome. Across the country, Americans go about their daily routines, but the election is never far from their minds. The world watches and waits, holding its breath as the future of the United States hangs in the balance. Section 11. The dawn of a new era. Regardless of the outcome, one thing is certain: the 2024 presidential election marks the dawn of a new era in American politics. This election is not just about choosing a leader, it is about defining the future direction of the nation. The deep divisions within American society, the rise of social media, and the changing demographics of the electorate have all contributed to a fundamental shift in the political landscape. Social media in particular has amplified voices and opinions, making it a powerful tool in shaping public discourse. The next president, whether it is Vice President Harris or President Trump, will face a daunting array of challenges, both domestic and foreign. They will need to navigate a complex web of issues that affect every American. The COVID-19 pandemic, the economy, climate change, and America's role in the world are just a few of the pressing issues that will demand immediate attention. Each of these challenges requires thoughtful and decisive action to ensure the well-being of the nation. The task ahead will be difficult, requiring leadership, vision, and a willingness to bridge the partisan divide. Cooperation and compromise will be essential in addressing the nation's most urgent problems. As the sun rises on a new day, there is a sense of hope that America can overcome its challenges and emerge stronger and more united. The resilience and determination of the American people will be crucial in this journey towards a brighter future.